What did I tell you, Packer fans? The Packers would beat the Minnesota Vikings, and they sure did. They sure beat the pants off the Vikings left and right. The Vikings really stood no chance tonight, basically because they depended on a fifth round rookie quarterback to get them to victory in a must win scenario. Now, the Vikings are completely eliminated. They have scenarios where they can get it back into the playoffs, but it's one of those scenarios that are just so unfeasible for them to do. It's just not going to happen because, first off, they play the Lions next week, and we know the Lions are going to bounce back after the loss against the Cowboys after they were totally robbed. But let's get into it. Let me know what you think down below. And as always, give a thumbs up if you like it, and let's get into it. Starting out with Jordan Love was fantastic tonight. Didn't have a lot of bad throws. Was very efficient, throwing down the field, throwing to the sideline, throwing to the middle of the field. He literally made as many throws as he could. It was pretty darn accurate. Sure, there were a couple underthrows, like in the third or fourth offensive drive, that throw to Bo Melton. Bo Melton probably should have caught the ball, but it wasn't the best, and he was under pressure. There were a couple other plays here and there, but Aaron Jones was dominant tonight. He was just very efficient, getting 4-5 yards apiece every time, going over 100 yards. For only the second time in his career, he had back-to-back 100-yard games, which I thought was pretty fantastic, considering how good he has been over his career in Green Bay. It is kind of amazing that this is only the second time in his career where he's gone back-to-back 100-yard games. Now, the Packers won even without Dontavian Wicks, and yes, the snowflake that is Christian Watson. I mean, let's just face it, he is. I mean, supposedly he practiced before the game with no hindrances or anything, but yet he still doesn't play. Jayden Reed had another great game. Of course, he left early because of a chest injury. Hopefully, it's not too severe and he'll be able to play next week. Tucker Kraft was efficient too. Bo Melton had some great plays too, other than that one drop pass. He ended the night on a great catch by Sean Clifford. It was nice to see Sean Clifford get a throw in there too, because we know for the future he's probably not going to get many chances to start, other than if Jordan Love was to get hurt. So it was nice to see him out there. Where else was I? Romeo Doubs had a couple of great catches as well. A couple of drops too, but the drops that he had, he probably should have caught some of them, but a lot of them just kind of, he caught them. They were behind him, and then it just kind of fell out as he was spinning over. So no harm, foul. Not a lot of turnovers tonight, except for that play in the third or in the fourth quarter that it was a perfectly played return by Minnesota, totally slipping him up, causing Toure to fumble the ball. But I think we've had this earlier in the year where Samori Toure was back there as a punt returner, and he was terrible. Why was he back there again? Probably because Jayden Reed was hurt, but it was terrible. And there was that play on the punt return towards the end of the first half where, surprisingly, well, actually maybe not surprisingly, there was no penalty or kick catch interference called. If sliding in to the returner after he signaled for a fair catch, getting tackled, thankfully Jayden Reed was able to hold on to the ball, which was a miracle unto itself. How that wasn't called interference, I will never know, because it was he called for the fair catch, slip, catch the ball. If that's not fair kick catch interference, I don't know what is. But lots of good things from the Packers from start to finish. Not a lot of really bad. They held the Vikings in chess for most of the game. I mean, the only touchdown they got was because of the botched punt by Samori Toure, and they only had to really go 10 yards to get that touchdown. Of course, they did get it because the Packers just gave up a really easy touchdown, but Packers were just efficient tonight all throughout the game. Now, of course, Andrews Carlson leaves a lot to be desired in his kicking. I've noticed a lot of his kicks. Yes, he's a young kicker and all, but all of his kicks seem to arc left or right, and now a lot of them still go in, but they always seem to just arc in a way where it nearly almost goes out. But probably need a new kicker in the future, but we're stuck with him for now. Going into next week with after this huge win, I mean, probably never would have. I never would have expected the Packers to beat them this badly. I knew they would win, but for them to beat them as badly as they did, sure, it didn't help that Jaren Hall was thrown into an impossible situation. I mean, what did they expect? A fifth-round quarterback with one start where he played 11 plays and then went out with a concussion. What did you expect him to do? I mean, then Nick Mullins comes in and they're down, and he just doesn't do much better. I mean, he gets the team going a little bit, is able to get down the field, but still, leaves a lot to be desired. I guess this is just what happens when you're down to your third and fourth quarterbacks. It's the kind of stuff that's going to happen. The fact that the Vikings felt more confident in giving Jaren Hall the start over Joshua Dobbs is really telling, and not in a good way. Just not a lot of good things to be said about the Vikings. Period. Their defense wasn't able to get to the quarterback at all. Packers' offensive line was really efficient too. Didn't allow a lot of sacks. Were just great at stopping Danielle Hunter. Zach Tom was really great with Danielle Hunter tonight, not allowing him to really get anything going at all. Rashawn Gary didn't have a sack tonight, but their Packers did get their fair share of sacks tonight, and they were really nice. They came at convenient times, and they were really able to take a big chunk out of the Vikings for any chance of getting forward and moving their drive along. Now, like I said, there's still some things that need to be worked on for. Still a few errant throws by Jordan Love that can be crisper, and some routes that weren't run correctly, but overall, Packers were just efficient tonight, and their defense was really good, giving up less than 200 yards, I believe, what was the final total, which is pretty nice considering what the Packers gave up last week against the Carolina Panthers. They shuttled up and held the Vikings down. Now, of course, it isn't going to save Joe Barry's job. As far as I'm concerned, I'm sure Joe Barry is still cooked. It's just a matter of when the season does, then it'll be gone and someone else will come in. Supposedly, there are rumors that Al Harris, former Packers great Al Harris, will be the new defensive coordinator of the Packers, but it's probably just a rumor at this point. And I don't even know if I agree with that potential for a hire. Now we go into Chicago next week, or at home against Chicago next week, and Chicago's been playing very well. So it's not going to be as easy of a game as it was in week one, because to be honest, Packers really put the hammers to the Bears in week one. Yes, Bears fans, you know it, and you can't deny it. Packers just whooped your ass week one, and hopefully the Packers will whoop your ass again in week 7 and week 18. Still hard to get over this. I mean, reality, this would be the end of the season. The Packers would be out of the playoffs, and just because there's a 7th spot and there's another week, it's the only reason the Packers are in it. But Jordan Love has now had a better rookie season than Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers had a better group of wide receivers, or at least an older, more experienced group of wide receivers, but he was still great. But Jordan Love, beyond all expectations, has surpassed them. He's great. And also, now he has the great honor of, even in his first season with the Packers, he's still had more passing yards and passing touchdowns than any Bears quarterback has in a single season in their 100-year history. Now that is an accomplishment unto itself. Now the Packers' likely chance to get in the playoffs goes up a lot. I mean, they still need to take care of business next week, but as far as I'm concerned, if they beat the Bears, they're in. Just simple as that. They control their own destiny. All you have to do is beat the Bears, and you're in the playoffs. And who would have said that going into the season? I remember making videos saying they had a chance to make the playoffs, but it would be really close. And sure enough, it is close. It's coming down to the last week. And Packers do have a shot to win the playoffs for sure. They just need to take care of business against the Bears, and they can get there. And the Vikings, their road basically involves beating the Lions, the Saints or Falcons losing, Tampa Bay losing, Seattle losing. It's a lot to ask for. Probably not the craziest scenario we've ever seen in terms of NFL playoffs before, but certainly not a easier road by any stretch of the imagination. With the way the Vikings have been playing lately, and the likelihood that Nick Mullins probably starts next week again, those are scary prospects if you're a Vikings fan. But Packers beat the Vikings tonight. They look great, and hopefully they can continue on next week against those dreaded Chicago Bears, who we whip on a yearly basis, but just got to look forward and play the Bears, beat them, and make it the playoffs. But let me know what you think of tonight's performance. Let me know what you think of the Packers' playoff chances. Let me know if there's any chance you think the Packers will maybe pull off an upset in the first round and get that even better surprise win to carry on to next year into possibly greater futures. Packers do have a bright future for sure. It's just a matter of living up to expectations, and they have. They've exceeded them by all accounts. But let me know what you think. Have a great day. God bless, and go Pack Go.